This is my final presentation following my final paper about messages about femininity on my Twitter timeline by Chloe Boxall. Introduction. My research question was, what messages about femininity are shared on a young female college student's Twitter feed? I came to my research question after wanting to do my project on gender because the gender unit interested me in class. The goal of my research was to identify the common themes of communicative styles that were used to find underlying views of women in today's society, and to investigate the reasons behind the power differences between male and female. Literature review number 1. Is There Any Ketchup, Vera? Gender, Power, and Pragmatics by Deborah Cameron. The author, Deborah Cameron, wrote this article in response to Deborah Tannen's initial view of dominance. Cameron wanted us to believe that the current view of dominance is flawed. She wants us to consider the fact that conflict between gender arises due to the differences in conversational styles. A quote from the article that interested me was, "Assumptions about social roles, positions, rights, and obligations are part of the usually unstated background knowledge that is routinely brought to bear on the interpretation of utterances in conversation. Information about who someone is and what position he or she speaks from is relevant to the assessment of probable intentions." Cameron, 1998. After reading the article, what I found was that I must consider the conversational styles and the root of the conflict to truly understand the meaning of a conversation. Literature review number 2. The Relativity of Linguistic Strategies. Rethinking Power and Solidarity in Gender and Dominance by Deborah Tannen. Tannen believed that power and solidarity are paradoxical or interchangeable terms. A quote from the article that I found interesting was, "The true intention or motive of any utterance cannot be determined from examination of linguistic form alone. For one thing, intentions and effects are not identical. A major source of the ambiguity and polysemy of linguistic strategies is the paradoxical relationship between the dynamics of power and solidarity." Tannen, 2009. What I found from this article that I needed to look out for were linguistic strategies of communication such as interruption, volubility versus silence, indirectness, topic raising, and adversativeness. Methodology. I began my research by reviewing the articles from Cameron and Tannen. I gathered important information about what to look for in conversations and in conflict. I came up with terms that I wanted to look up on my Twitter search, such as women's rights, women aren't funny, women in the kitchen, women baking, etc. I used my Explore page on Twitter to search for tweets that stood out specifically to me. I made note of these tweets, and then I used them for my paper. I had to search for a little while to find tweets that I wanted to use, but much of the feedback at this point that was expressed were negative views about femininity. Many of the tweets that I found used multiple of the linguistic strategies of conversation that Tannen spoke about in her article. Analysis. Some of the tweets that I used in my paper are listed below. I'm going to quote some of them. Ace Chapo states, "Serious question, but what hobby do you women have? Not even trying to sound disrespectful, but apart from men, what are you interested in? Mr. Millionaire, 2020. Some of the linguistic strategies in conversation that I found in this Twitter user's tweet was topic raising and indirectness. Another tweet from my research was from Twitter user Calamity Jane 4. She states, "My whole life I've been listening to men objectify women, making jokes about how women belong in the kitchen and the expectation is that we'll just ignore or laugh it off. But the second women give men a taste of what it's like, dudes act like the sky is falling." Calamity Jane 2020. I found this tweet interesting as it was from a woman's perspective of femininity. She used the linguistic strategy that Tannen spoke about of topic raising. Another tweet that specifically stood out to me because of its negative views were from Twitter user Fate Shernu. He states, "Show me one feminine feminist. Feminism is not for women empowerment. It shames and confuses women. Makes them miserable and ugly. F feminism." Fate Singh 2020. This tweet uses the linguistic strategy of topic raising and adversativeness. Discussion. My research helps me to better understand the viewpoints from both genders on femininity. The information that I gathered from articles from Cameron and Tannen helped me to know what to look for in conflict, such as conversational styles, linguistic strategies, and knowing that gender issues are deeper than just dominance alone. My research was relevant as it proved Tannen's views of power, solidarity, and linguistic strategies of communication correct. My research helped me to better understand that many of the messages about femininity on Twitter are negative, such as women don't have hobbies, women shouldn't wear, etc. Women shouldn't be in political power. The information that I gathered from my research didn't necessarily shock me, but I did learn that I need to better analyze the conversational styles and linguistic strategies used in communication so I can better understand the conflict.